Hi there, I'm Gary Donnelly, formerly of Serena Software's training department. I'm going to be using the YouTube facility and presenting to you little snippets of dimensions. These snippets I'm going to be calling dimlets. And I'm going to take from time to time a little topic and explain it via YouTube. Now I'm going to be limited to the 10 minutes that YouTube allows me, so some topics I'll have to have a coverage at a pretty high level. But thank you for watching this. I do think it's an interesting way to do some training, and I hope you find it useful. Frequently when I was teaching a dimensions class, I would be asked by a student my opinion of either the desktop client or the web client. And I happen to like both, but I like them for different reasons. And what I'm going to do in this dimlet is to present to you both user interfaces. Now I'm using dimensions 10.1.2, and if you're not, you may see some subtle differences. But they do have differences, and I'm going to try to show you the pluses and minuses of both, because ultimately the choice is up to you. You can use either, you can use both, and in fact you can use neither because you can use other interfaces such as Eclipse or Visual Studio. Anyhow, let's jump in and take a look at the two clients. I have logged into the Dimensions desktop client, and what we see here is the standard view that an end user will see when they log in. Not too difficult. On the left hand side where you see my current project, and then you list 2, 4, 6, 7 options there. That side is called the navigation pane. You can see there's three other panes actually below that haven't opened up yet. The big center area that has project, payroll, PRJ initial is what's referred to as the content pane. And you can see it's split up with folders and items on the left, and then on the right a big gray area because we haven't selected anything. Anyhow, this is the standard view that a person is going to see. Now let's take a look at how complex this particular GUI can appear. Now we're looking at the baseline view through the desktop client. I've opened up the navigation pane to show you the 4 areas expanded, and on the right hand side in the content pane we're looking at the baseline view. One thing that stands out is I have color coding. The one up here in red with white letters indicates that it's in some kind of an off normal. We could go in and look and see what that is. We won't at this time. The other 3 are grayed out, which indicates they've reached the last normal state of their life cycle. I've selected the second one. I can see that it has 42 items that are related, or in other words, in that particular baseline. In the bottom area, I see that that baseline was used to create one release, whose name is release_1 in the payroll product. And that baseline contains the design parts indicated in the bottom left of that quadrant, which is the entire payroll product. As you can see, there's a lot of information presented at one time. Having seen the desktop view, let's take a look at the same views, but now we're going to use the web client. We are now looking at the initial view of the web client. This is what a person will see when they log in, assuming we haven't changed any of the view preferences. You can see that it's a fairly clean screen. There are 5 tabs across the top area here. You come into My Current Project, and then you can see the various views within your Current Project tab. And then you see 4 other tabs: Items, Requests, Projects, and Baselines. Down at the bottom, you see a status line. So this is really a rather clean interface, but as you can see, in order to get information, I've got to start drilling down through the web client just as if I was using yet another browser on yet another web page. We're now looking at the web client, but the baseline view. I've just selected the baseline tab, and you see on the left hand side in the navigation area the design part view. If I select the catalog, you'll see the 4 baselines that we saw before. Take note that there is no color coding in the web client. Now, in order for me to take a look at the particular baseline, and I'll select the baseline that we were looking at before, and by doing that you can see that a number of icons have become active, but I still don't see all the information in one view, and in fact I can't. What I have to do is drill down through the web client in order to see the information. Now I will see the same information that I saw in the desktop client, but I'm going to have to work for it. For example, let's take the baseline that we selected before, the Dev Rel 1B, and single click on it. I will adjust the window down a little bit, and we see the open baseline for the baseline that I selected, and we see that there's a 5-tab area here with the general over through items. General tab tells me the general information about it. And let me select the items tab, and I'm going to see the items presented a couple of ways. The default way is to show me the items in what's called the project directory view. And in other words, the items are there, but they're sorted by their project directory that they're in. If I want to see all the items at one time, I will go to the bottom of the navigation screen, select the items tab, and then select the catalog option, and I will see all the items, which will match exactly all the items that I saw before. Now, in order for me to look at other information, I have to drill down some more. For example, let me look at the relationships that this baseline has with other objects. And if I select the object class that I want to view, let me select releases. You will see that this baseline does in fact have the relationship with release 1 in the payroll product. If I select the parts, I will see that it is related to all the parts in the payroll product. So it's the same metadata, looking at the same information, but with a different view. Let's summarize what we've seen here. The desktop client requires an individual installation on the user's machine, which has to be running Windows. It does provide some access to some features that are not in the web client, such as access to the command console and the request secondary catalog, both of which I really didn't have time to go into, but are really administrative functions. I believe that your power users, your more experienced users, and you as the administrator will likely wind up using the desktop client. The web client, on the other hand, has a simpler interface, does not require an individual installation, which means it can be used on any machine that runs a browser that is supported by the Serena Dimensions CM product. It provides a cleaner view, but you have to work harder to get all the information. So those are your differences. What's your choice? Well, as I said at the beginning of this Dimlet, the choice is really yours. And remember, when you're in Dimensions, no one can hear you scream.